Hey guys, it's Lena. Welcome to my channel, and I am back with another video. And this one is actually super interesting in a way that it would give you a rundown of languages and how easy it is to learn them from a linguistic perspective. So I just want to preface this by saying that I'm not a linguist, so I'm not going to be getting into the in-depths of everything, but I will be explaining all of it on like a very surface level, and times I will go in depth, but that is just for a lot of people to understand and get it, because I've seen people have questions about this. I just wanted to explain it today because it's such an interesting topic and I hope you like it. The first thing I want to talk about is what is a language family. A language family is a group of languages that derived from the same ancestor. It reminds us of humans also and how we derive from ancestors. It's basically the same thing in language learning. There's a common ancestor in a language family or a branch. So why is this important to language learning? How does this affect it? So the reason for that is we need to know that these languages, they share a common ancestor that we already know, and the fact that they share a common ancestor then leads us to the fact that they also share vocabulary, they share the same grammatical structures, and they share phonetics, which is how the language sounds or how some words sound. A lot of languages might derive from the same ancestor, but what makes them different is the culture. So the way it affects people who are learning languages is if you do know one language within that language family or within that branch, it is significantly easier for you to learn another language in that same branch or language family in the future. And it is significantly easier to understand, to comprehend what the other person is saying if you don't want to particularly learn the language, but you can understand. It is easier to communicate. So I'm not going to talk about all of the language families in this video, and frankly speaking, it kind of is impossible at the moment. So a language family that we are met with on a daily basis, and a lot of people know, is the Indo-European language family, which includes more than 400 languages, which is absolutely insane if you think of it, but it does include a lot of branches, which you might know, includes Romance languages and Germanic languages, both of which you are for sure met with, because Romance languages are languages like French and Spanish and Portuguese, and Germanic languages are languages like German and English that we are speaking right now. Our Romance languages is a branch that derived from Latin, actually, and derived from Vulgar Latin, which is a Latin sort of that was spoken by common people. So the languages in this particular branch share so many similarities, and if you are asking if it is easier to learn Italian if you know French, or if it's easier to learn Spanish if you know Portuguese, then for sure there are so many similarities in vocabulary and grammatical structure. And I'm actually gonna pause this by saying that a lot of people will say, but it's easier to learn, I guess like French if you know English, or like a lot of people will say that it's easier to learn English if you know French, because they say, oh my god, they're so similar, like there's a lot of similarities. But the real reason why nowadays and these days a lot of people will say it's so much easier to learn like English if you know French is because there are a lot of borrowed words from French and English. So like there's an unimaginably huge list of words in English that were borrowed from French. And it's actually, most of the time, it's something that we don't notice. A lot of languages have a lot of borrowed words from different languages, and we don't always understand it. You might mistake that with the same branch, the same family. Yes, most times it is, but in this situation, it really isn't. It doesn't really correlate to the fact that it's in the same family, but more to the fact that English just borrowed lots of words from French. And also I want to shine some light on the language of Persian, which is one of the oldest languages on earth. And obviously Persian has lots of sort of, I guess, phases of Persian. So there's Old Persian that isn't spoken right now, there's the Persian that is spoken right now, and I just want to say that there are also a lot of words right now that were derived from Persian. So that is also like a little fun fact for you. And I just want to say, like, you wouldn't even imagine how many words that you're using. You don't really like think about it, which You shouldn't always, I mean, it's not your like responsibility to like wonder about words. It's not a bad thing to not wonder, but it's so interesting when you do learn that so many words that we're using, for example, are derived from French. So many words that we're using in, I don't know, like certain languages are derived from Arabic. So many words that we're using are derived from Persian. The next branch is Germanic languages, and that includes Dutch, Swedish, English, Danish, and obviously German. English obviously has Germanic features, and it's in this branch. And honestly, English is the most heavily influenced language by other languages. So that's why you might think that it doesn't sound like German though. It doesn't sound as aggressive as German, or it doesn't, I don't know, have some of the features of German, but it does. It's just that English has gone through a lot. So it is super different from its sisters or brothers or whatever, or cousins in the Germanic language branch, but it is Germanic, and it is a Germanic language, and it does have the sentence structure. It's just that it has a lot of borrowed words from a lot of languages. And another branch is Slavic languages, which includes Russian, Bulgarian, Czech, Ukrainian, Polish, Serbian. Honestly, as a person whose first language, whose native language is a Slavic language, I just want to say that I honestly like very easily can understand a lot of Slavic languages when I don't understand them. Like, I can't explain it, but it does happen to me with this specific Slavic language, which is Russian, by the way. Genuinely, like when I do listen to a person speaking in another Slavic language, I can easily understand them. However, it's not that I can translate a text, because that would be much more difficult for me. But I can understand the main idea behind someone saying something. So if someone was talking about something in the news or something, then I would most likely understand them. But I can't like pinpoint specific words that I do understand. That's just the main idea. And that just honestly comes from the shared vocabulary and the shared sentence structure, because it's much easier to understand a specific sentence structure when you're so familiar with it. Also, let me know if you want a video in Russian, because I would love that. I'm always speaking in English, and sometimes I do like mention words in other languages. But if you do want me to speak a specific language in my next video, then go ahead and I'll do that. So, moving on. So another little language family is Turkic languages. One of my favorite language families, actually, because it's so diverse and so beautiful. So the languages in this language family span throughout Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, Central Asia and East Asia, North Asia and West Asia. So this language family does span a lot of geographical locations, and it does include Turkish, Azerbaijani, Kazakh, and a lot more languages. I am choosing my next language family to talk about because it's very interesting to see that these languages might have different alphabets, but the way that they are structured and the phonetic sort of aspects of these languages make them so close to each other. The Afro-Asiatic languages, which include Arabic and Hebrew. Basically, why I wanted to include this sort of language family is because Hebrew and Arabic are the ones that have the biggest population of people who speak those languages in the world. So I'm going to use them as an example, the comparison. But basically, Hebrew and Arabic obviously have a very different alphabet, and their letters and the way they're written are very different. However, that doesn't stop them from being in the same language family and being so similar to each other. And what might be difficult in this specific language family is the fact that Arabic has lots of dialects that sometimes do differ so much from each other that it might be even hard for a native speaker of Arabic to understand someone from a different dialect. So I just wanted to mention that. And so yeah, my sort of closing points for this video, as I said, I didn't touch on a lot of different language families just because I'm not too educated on the topic, and I just wanted to explain the ones that I am educated on. But the impact that it has on language learners, learning about this, learning about cultural appropriation, learning about how easy it is for you to learn another language if you are interested in that. I just wanted to explain some things for you because I thought that it would be a very interesting topic, and I feel like it is. If you did like this video, then you can give me a like, and you can also subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!